Good evening and welcome to our Jazz and Percussion Ensemble concert. My name is Allison Yeager. Behind you is Jazz Studies, and we're going to kick off our first piece today, which is St. Thomas. Hopefully many of you might even recognize the melody. Also, discovered Sonny Rollins is 92. He's still alive. Awesome. He actually was still playing his saxophone until just about like 7 or 8 years ago. So St. Thomas is first, and let's hear about it.
St. Thomas, composed by famous jazz tenor saxophone player Sonny Rollins, is a jazz standard with a Latin groove. It was released in 1956 by Rollins, but before that, in 1955, it was recorded as Fire Down There by Randy Weston. It was also featured in the 1988 film Working Girl.
It's based off of a Bahamian folk song called Sponge Your Money that Rollins' mother sang to him as a child. Rollins grew up in New York City, but his parents were from the Virgin Islands. More specifically, the island of St. Thomas, which is where the title of this song came from.
Sonny Rollins had a storied and accomplished career up until 2014 when he developed pulmonary fibrosis and stopped playing tenor saxophone completely. We have added a special tenor sax tribute during the solo section that we hope you enjoy.
All right, solo on that tune were June Berquist and Henry Burmeister on tenor saxophone, Carson Knott on piano, and Elliot Lesperance on the drum set. Give it up one more time. jazz conductor here tonight. Mr. Menchaca is back to join us. He got the group started this fall when I was on maternity leave, and because jazz is kind of a separate own thing that starts right on jazz right at the beginning of the school year, I said, hey, Mr. Menchaca, do you want to come and do it too? Because he was with them for the first 6 weeks of school, and he said, hey, sure. So we're featuring him twice tonight, first on It Don't Mean a Thing as a conductor, and then second as a guitarist on our last tune tonight. So if you would please welcome Louis Menchaca to the stage.
It Don't Mean a Thing If It Ain't Got That Swing, written in 1931, is considered a jazz standard, being one of the most highly renowned jazz pieces in the world. Its composer, Duke Ellington, was an American pianist who was one of the greatest founders of big band jazz. He wrote over 1,000 scores for jazz bands, and in doing so, established one of the greatest sounds of the 1900s.
Ellington's music truly was the foundation to jazz, as he is still one of the most well-known and greatest jazz artists of our time. When asked where he got the idea for the song, Ellington said that he got the phrase from jazz trumpeter Bubby Miley. Written in C minor, this piece features a very fast swing feel, with many strong melodies featuring throughout. This musical composition was most notably performed by Duke Ellington on the piano, along with Ella Fitzgerald on vocals. This song has become one of the most popular and influential pieces of jazz music that the world has ever seen.
Bossa Nova is a song based on a Latin genre called bossa nova, which began in 1950s Brazil, but has its roots in much earlier Afro-Caribbean and samba music. It is a type of samba which is characterized by its distinctive rhythm and continuous cabasa line. Compared to traditional jazz music, it has a swaying feel compared to a traditional swing. This specific bossa was written for jazz bands that want to explore Latin music, but this genre delves much deeper than what we'll play today.
We learned how to improvise creatively using the G Dorian scale, and it helped us be able to create distinct solos using new scales. We really enjoyed learning this piece, and we hope you enjoy it too.
Gus Sampson on the bass saxophone, and Luca Elmer on the timbales, and Charles Whitney on the bass guitar, everybody. It's okay, we have a saying around here, no Gus, no glory. Even when the microphone fails. All right, our next tune is kind of an up jump tune called Flues. Oh my gosh, seriously, the words just aren't coming today. The Blues at Frog Bottom. And this is this the fastest tune we have? Yeah. Okay. Maybe they consider that a challenge, we'll see.
Frog Bottom takes us back to the early roots of jazz. Froggy Bottoms, the namesake of the piece, refers to places where land was cheap because of swampy conditions, hence froggy. This cheap land fostered the bars where jazz first grew into its popularity, and those bars led to the development of the 12 Bars Blues form.
The 12-bar blues form, which is the base of the piece, is so popular that it has appeared in many songs ranging from rock to amphibian EDM.
However, according to all known laws of aviation, there is no way a frog should be able to jump. Its legs are too small to get its fat little body off the ground. The frog, of course, jumps anyway because frogs don't care what humans think is impossible.
All right, on that tune we have Jaden Cowan on the trumpet, Emmett Marson on the trumpet, and Miles Tolanen on guitar. Give it up. And can we give it up for Elliot Lesperance, too, for recovering from that stick drop? That happens sometimes, right? Yeah. Yes. That's why you always gotta have more than one pair of drumsticks. And now for something completely different.
Duke Ellington, whose work you heard earlier tonight on It Don't Mean a Thing, was also known for ballads. The piece, In a Sentimental Mood, was composed in 1935 and recorded with his famous orchestra the same year.
Ellington tells the story of how he wrote the song at a party in North Carolina. He says he improvised the piano part on the spot in order to impress two girls. The song was finalized later on with lyrics written by Manny Kurtz, and famous versions have been sung by Ella Fitzgerald, Benny Goodman, and the Mills Blues Rhythm Band.
In case you're wondering what that awesome thing is that Emmett Marson was holding, that's a flugelhorn. Give it up for Emmett on flugelhorn and Henry Burmeister on the tenor saxophone. All right, our last tune for jazz tonight. Some of you may recognize from the 1970s, or not. Oh, we're dating our audience here. To figure out who knows this tune. By Edgar Winter. So we have a special guest that is giving me the sign here. What do you need? Yeah, sure. I'm pretty informal here, so we're cool. Like.
Sorry, I was so excited with all the great music that it was being made that I forgot to acknowledge the soloists on the first Ellington chart. So if you could please give it up one more time for Lyra Artsparty on the alto sax, Alex Nelson on the trumpet, and Carson Knott on the piano.
Frankenstein was written by the Edgar Winter Group in 1972 and charted #1 in 1973. Originally, the song started off as a jam played by his brothers trio.
The song's title, coined by the band's drummer Chuck Ruff, derives from the fact that the original recording of the song was much longer than the final version. As the band would often deviate from the arrangement into less structured jams, the track required numerous edits to shorten it. The end result was pieced together from many different sections of recording tape using a razor blade and splicing tape, similar to Frankenstein, except the person behind it was sane. It was performed by Rich Derringer with Ringo Starr's All-Star Band in 2010. The band included notable members like Edgar Winter himself, as well as Ringo Starr and Greg Bissonette. The song was arranged by Paul Murtha. He has several other popular song arrangements for bands such as Sucker by the Jonas Brothers, Thunder by Imagine Dragons, and Thriller by Michael Jackson, as well as many others.
Joker's Wild. Joker's Wild is as adaptable as it is entertaining. It can be performed with 3 players, but up to an expanded full score for 13 players or more. The more jokers, the merrier.
Auxiliary sound effects such as a school bell, siren whistle, cork pop gun, police whistle, anvil, slide whistle, nightingale bird whistle, 2 bulb horns, and a vibroslap give this piece a vaudeville feel of a one-person band, or may evoke feelings of storytime radio broadcasts that were popular in the 1930s. Joker's Wild is delightful to perform. Enjoy.
Enjoy. Oh my God.
Cool how the sound effects are also very visual, right? So I don't know if you remember when you saw the slide that there were pictures in black and white, and there was a little child sitting next to a very large radio sitting on the floor, and there were just every single radio station had its own orchestra in that time, in the 30s and the 40s. And so you'd have a whole team of people that were narrating these grand stories, and a whole orchestra and a set of people that were responsible for creating the sound effects for that. So that's the inspiration for that piece. Our next piece, while they're transitioning here, is Nanigo Navidad by Brian Slauson. How many of you saw the NBC 15 Sounds of the Season production? Yeah? Yeah, we're fortunate that Pete Calgaro from NBC 15, every year he comes back and says, hey, do you want to do this again? And we love doing it. Not only do we enjoy performing for that, it's also a really great tool, a teaching tool, because students have to learn what it's like to perform for a live TV broadcast. And so when we set up in the PAC to do that, and a big thanks to Nate Mendel and his team, the PAC director here, for what they do with the lighting, making it look like snow projected on the site was really cool. very fortunate that we have that opportunity here. But they come in, and we have to perform it multiple times, and they start from way back in the back of the hall, and they film from back there and just do a whole wide stage shot, and then they come up further, and then they finally come on stage, so they get closer to the students every time. And it's a little bit nerve-wracking for them, right? To have to deal with that. So by the time they're done, they've played through this thing about 4 times or so, and there are people in between just walking around while the students are playing with roving cameras, getting special shots and stuff, like when Caden plays the finger cymbals, for example. So what they have to do, what the students have to do, besides just understanding how all of that camera work happens, is they have to play at the same tempo all 4 times, right? Because they take the best audio take out of the 4, but all of the different shots have to splice properly and they have to line up. So it's a neat challenge for them, and for them to also see what music can do, where it can take you in careers in TV, film, etc. So looks like we're real close. So I'm gonna go ahead and let Peyton tell you more about this piece.
After a brief, stately introduction borrowed from a harp concerto by G.F. Handel, Na Nigo Navidad gets off to a raucous start. Traditional Christmas hymns, We Three Kings from the 19th century, and God Rest Ye Merry Gentlemen from the 19th century, are suddenly thrust into a Na Nigo, which is an irresistible, hard-driving Afro-Cuban rhythm. This fundamental groove is driven by the djembe, drum set, and timpani. Our performance of this piece was featured on this year's NBC 15 Sounds of the Season broadcast on December 24th and 25th.
Rondo a la Turk is a jazz standard composition by Dave Brubeck, composed in 1959. It is written in 9/8 time with one side theme in 4/4, and the choice of rhythm was inspired by Turkish aksak time signatures. This interesting fact has a short story behind it that we found in a New Yorker article by Joshua Othonman.
In the 1950s, the U.S. State Department cultivated a group of jazz ambassadors. When they would send art on tour around the world to demonstrate American culture in 1958, they sent the Dave Brubeck Quarter to East Germany, Poland, Turkey, Afghanistan, India, Sri Lanka, Iran, and Iraq. While walking in Istanbul, Turkey, Brubeck heard a group of street musicians playing an exotic rhythm, fast and syncopated. It was in 9/8 time, 9/8 per notes, or notes per measure, which was a very unusual meter for Western music. Later that day, Brubeck had an interview scheduled at a local radio station, like May broadcasters at the
time. The station had its own symphony orchestra. When Brubeck arrived, he told some of the musicians about the rhythm that he'd heard on the streets and asked if anyone knew what it was. He hummed the tune, and several of the musicians started playing it, adding flourishes and counterpoint, even improvising on it. It was a traditional Turkish folk song widely known in Turkey. As the tour continued, Brubeck kept listening for interesting rhythms, and he kept asking his quartet to experience with them. Later, back in the States, the group recorded Time Out, an album of songs with non-traditional time signatures. Take 5, which is written in 5/4 time, which is the breakout hit single. Blue Rondo a la Turk was a song written in 9/8 time, like the music Brubeck had heard in Istanbul, was also on that record.
they're finishing setting up here. Let's give it up one more time for our soloists in the last piece, which Aaron Dieter on the vibraphone and Simon Nimchek on marimba. And also want to just give a shout out. I didn't tell him I was going to do this. I probably should have asked him first. Is it okay, Elliot? See, I asked you. There we go. So Elliot just competed in the Bulls Young Artist Competition for a chance to play with the Madison Symphony Orchestra. And there are 3 rounds to this competition, resulting in a scholarship for some of the performers who make it to the final forte. So Elliot had the initial round and then advanced to the semifinals, which were held in a recital format last weekend. And he has advanced to the final forte out of lots and lots of extremely hardworking musicians. And Elliot will be performing on March 6th with the Madison Symphony Orchestra and the other 3 finalists. And PBS Wisconsin will be broadcasting all of this. They will also be doing a TV segment on each finalist as well and their journey as musicians. So stay tuned for more about that. And that is a free performance at the Overture Center with the Madison Symphony as well, graciously funded by the Bulls family. So please, if you can, it's at 7 p.m. on March 6th. Please attend. We're going to get a whole slew of band students there to support Elliot. So, all right, congratulations one more time, Elliot. I want to say a quick thanks to our administrators and our music team here, to Gage in the booth up in the PAC and the director of the PAC, Nate Mendel. I want to say thank you to all of our students for all of their hard work and just continuing to persevere, right? That's the beauty of music, is that you never stop growing. You never stop learning. Yo-Yo Ma has a famous quote about how he can still be playing cello when he's 90 years old. Sonny Rollins still played well into his 80s on a tenor saxophone. So music can take you incredible places, and thanks for working hard at it, everybody. Thank you to all of you for your support of your students. And with that, I think we're going to get on to our last piece. This one is very different. It's by Giuseppe Verdi. So you are in for a treat. It is based on an opera. Yes. Adapted for percussion ensemble. Enjoy.
Based on Verdi's original grand tale of ill-fated love, deadly vendetta, and family strife, the unstoppable advance of destiny that drives the opera's chain of calamitous events is depicted here in this arrangement for percussion. The piece incorporates several musical styles that range from fast and technically demanding passages to lyrical, sustained melodies. It's a very exciting piece that explores the classical music possibilities of the modern percussion ensemble.